Hey strong people, Kalle Beck here from StartingStrongman.com, and I'm going to be talking today about the latest Arnold qualifier that just happened up in Canada at the Warwick Festival. Awesome show, a little different than all of the other Arnolds because it's outside, it's not at an expo like them, but I mean it looked like it had the biggest crowd other than the Arnold Classic. The stands are full, it's an outdoor venue. In Warwick, Canada, part of one of their festivals. They had 10 events over 2 days, which is also very different. A lot more athletic events, more traditional strongman style events than we see. Generally, it's the common thing at a lot of the Arnold's: press, deadlift, a yoke or a heavy frame and some heavy stones, maybe a truck pull or something in there. But this, it had Fingal's finger into backward sled drag medley, power stairs, very 90s-esque as far as strongman. Plus, I've never seen Fingal fingers into power backwards drag. Cool events. Again, 10 events over 2 days really puts a big separation. There's lots of highs and lows. The leaderboard moves around. And it was fun. And, of course, the winner ends up qualifying for the Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio in 2019, as this is part of the Arnold World Series. And it looks like after this, there's one more qualifier left, and that is the Arnold Europe, and that will be taking place in about 8 weeks. And so then after that, there's still going to be three wildcard spots open based on the points. And how it works is you get a maximum of, I think, 9 points for getting second at any of the various Arnolds, and then it goes down to, from 9th you get, 10th you get 1. And it's cumulative, so doing all of the events over time, you keep building points. Anyways, let's go on to the events. The first event was a truck pull, and this is going to be very interesting. First off, there's very little video of day one, but if you're interested, you can click the link below to the article version if you hate hearing me talk. If I've already bored you in the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds, there's an article in the description below, and that'll have some of the videos embedded as well of what I could find that was posted on various places like Strongman Corporation's Instagram and the festival's Facebook page. There wasn't much on day one, but it was interesting where Martins Lisi, who's struggled a little bit in truck pull. He had not this year at Worlds, spoiler alert, but the previous year, I think he borrowed Oathaugen's shoes and really messed it up in the finals because those things are probably older than he is. But he ends up winning it, so he's put in a lot of work on the event. He's very technical, so it's no surprise that he's improved, beating out Kilzakowski, who's been damn near unbeatable on truck pull with Brian Shaw getting third. So it's off to a very interesting start. On the press medley, which I think was a dumbbell followed by 3 logs, I think the last one was around 375 pounds, if I remember right. Kilzakowski ends up in first with Maxime Bordeaux, Canadian, in second, who's a very strong overhead presser, probably one of the strongest log pressers in the world that people are unaware that he is. He should definitely be at any log lift world championship that happens again. Belsac ends up in third, obviously also good, and Shaw in fourth, and Caron in fifth. So if some of these results are a little off, don't kill me. This is compiling them from various sources and copying down from spreadsheets, so it might be off a little bit, but this is going to be generally what happened. And then I believe the third event of day one was a wheelbarrow where they keep going up in weight, or I think it was, it's hard to say because there wasn't video and I wasn't in Warwick, Canada, but from what I can see, they keep going up in weight. It's a famous strong, there's actually a lot of strongman culture in Canada with Louis Cyr and there's lots of different feats. I think when they had like the circus style strongman, back in the day, it was very big up in Canada, and they still do really well with the pro circuit, going to different festivals, and there's a very healthy pro system. But I think the wheelbarrow is one of the more famous events where it's just a really heavy wheelbarrow. Brian Shaw was the only person who could complete the one when it was 1,200 plus pounds, so his grip seems to be doing well, with Kielzikowski in second, I believe Maxime in third, and Lisi's in fourth. In the keg toss, Shaw wins again with Kielzikowski in second, and Rano Hanla in third, with Karan taking fourth, I believe. And this was a big one because Martins was right up there, and he actually placed 11th. So maybe that's his truck pull of 2018, where last year he had to work on upping that to get more well-rounded, and it looks like throwing events are what Martins is probably going to be working on a lot, especially with the Arnold probably having the sandbag throw again. So there's 12 competitors at second to last that really dropped him down in the points. In the stones, Brian Shaw wins again. He had a very good day one with 3 event wins. Martins in second, and big congrats to Carl. Sorry if I butcher your name, I'm sure I will. I heard it on the broadcast a couple times. I think it's like Arnold or something like that. But he's a fairly active member in the Starting Strongman Facebook group, and I've had some talks with him over the years, and he's been up and coming in the pro circuits in Canada, and I think he took second at Ontario's Strongest Man to Maxime the weekend before, pretty sure on that, don't quote me, but he places third against that field in the stones, so big congrats to that. This is by far the biggest show he's done yet, and probably going to start being on the Arnold World Series scene. So to get a top 3 in the events, and it was a really cool stone setup. I mean, they kept run. It was in the middle of the crowd. There's people on both sides. They're going from one platform to the other with kind of like rings in between, and that just looks really cool. A lot cooler than like a stone over bar for reps for people watching. Karan fourth, and Kielzikowski with fifth. So he might have had. I don't know if he had a bobble on his run, but that's or maybe running in between them, it kind of threw him off a little bit instead of doing the series where you go dink dink dink. Going side to side. In the squat, it was a 700 pounds for reps, and this is going into, I think this is the start of day 2, which they have a full live stream of all the events on the Warwick Festival's Facebook page. And again, there's links in the description to watch that. Karan, it was 700 for reps, I think, and they didn't allow suits. And you can really tell how much the suit helps, considering this is less weight than World's Strongest Man, and the reps were a lot lower. I don't think anyone was getting near 15 reps, but JF Karan looked really strong, as did Martins, and they tied with the event win with Rano Hanla, getting a second again. Jimmy Pacqua of Canada in third. And Carl had another good showing, tying Kielzikowski for fourth. Shaw was he looked like he looked like he lost his balance, and he kind of went backwards on this event. So he probably was good for more, but he also had a fairly big event lead. Actually, Kielzikowski wasn't too far behind him after day 1, but yeah, he had a little slip up there. He looked like he was better for more. He kind of started day 2 a little lackadaisical in a way. On the power stairs, another cool setup. Something I want to note real quick is they had, so they're in the middle of these bleachers on each side, and what's really good is they were moving all the equipment with forklifts, and one of them happened to be pink. And why I think that's cool is it makes everyone watching go, "This is ridiculous! I just saw this guy fling it, and it's taking." Whole forklifts to reset everything up. Plus, it saves the backs of the spotters and loaders a little bit. But it's all about putting on a show in strongman, and this show definitely did. You definitely have to go check out whatever videos you can of it. But on the power stairs, there was a fun run between Karan and Martins, with Martins was a little ahead and Caron pulled away at the end. But something I want to note on this show is there's definitely home field advantage where a lot of the Canadian athletes were helping. I wouldn't say helping. It's not like they're lifting the weight for the other person, but they're standing awfully close to the athletes that were competing, a lot more like you would see at a local amateur show, which generally is definitely never going to be allowed at something like Worlds or the Arnold Classic in Ohio, where someone's right in their face screaming, and so like Pacquiao was I think he trains with Caron, and he was like he was on the side of the stairs. He had already went, screaming at Caron, giving him instruction, handed him chalk on his way down to his third. So it's a little bit of an advantage. I don't think it was the difference between winning. I'm not saying it was cheating or anything, but generally, a contest this high, I think there should be a designated area that people that aren't currently lifting should be behind. That's all I'm saying. So it's just, you saw it with a lot of the Canadian athletes, which is good. They're all supporting each other. Home field advantage is real, but a professional level event, they should probably be, on the more not within camera frame, and handing chalk to one another at least. So Caron and Lisi's had a good run, and I believe Lisi's even got second in that. He was just far behind. Something I want to note is if you go and watch the video, a lot of the people they pick up the power stairs on the top, and it was kind of like looked like a triangle ring. And if you have a power stairs that has a ring like this, not just one bar over the top, as I saw a lot of the guys were picking it up instead of from the top, they were gripping the bottom as close to the bottom as they could like this, which is probably going to be hard to grip, but it gave them that extra height in order to be able to lift it up onto the next platform. They didn't have to pick it up as high, and it probably wouldn't swing as much either. And a couple of the guys really utilize that. You have to have better grip because you're holding it here instead of here. But it was just, whenever you watch high-level strongman, pay attention to the little techniques. You'll really pick up things that's going to help your own training. And I think the Canadians did very well on this. You can tell they probably trained somewhat with the same kit, or maybe it's more common event up there. But Jimmy got third with Carl in fourth, Sean fifth. He looked, and something I want to note, the stairs were slightly narrow, and Brian didn't look too comfortable being up there. And also, people talk about power stairs and stuff being such a tall man's event. But I imagine as you go further and further up, it's kind of a little sketchy because you're already so big and your feet are probably bigger. And also he had to bend down very far to pick up each one compared to some of the other athletes. He might not need to extend as much, but compared to the run that Jimmy did, where he's a lot shorter competitor, he looked very secure up there, and he didn't have to pick it up very much and just went right into the extension. I'm pretty sure he used that V grip technique as well to make up for his height. And the Hercules hold, this thing was heavy. I think 12 seconds, 15 seconds or so won it. Martins was one of the last to go, and he ended up winning the event with Sean second. You could see some people kind of cheating side to side. Again, it looked a little more uncomfortable for the taller athletes. They couldn't fully extend. Even Kilsikowski has such long arms that even for his height, that he looked like he was trying to curl it at first before it started stretching out. It was interesting. So anyways, the results on that ended up being, Lisi, Shaw, Maxime had a good run, Pacquiao, Kilsikowski, then Caron on the deadlift. Caron and Rano went early, crushed it, ended up tying Caron. Shaw and Martins had a run on the deadlift where they ended up tying for points for second, with Jimmy Pacquiao in third, and Kilsikowski bombed, and he just and there's something I didn't take into account in my preview is that with more events, it might not be as detrimental for him to do bad in his bad event, the deadlift. But what I didn't take into account is that this contest had 12 competitors, where most of them have 10. So he's dropping that many more points for zeroing an event. So he was right up there in second, and between not the best runs on power on those last three events, power stairs, Hercules, and then bombing the deadlift, he really fell, and then Caron and Martins kept rising up. And then the last event was the single finger into a sled drag, and it was really cool. Caron and Martins had a very good run. I believe, I'm not 100% sure on the single fingers results, but I believe Kilzakowski ended up winning the event, with Shaw taking second and Belsac third and Martins fourth. The final results ended up, Brian Shaw won to qualify for the Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio in 2019. So he won with 100 points and he qualified. It's his first show back since Worlds. And he won. He did very well. He looked very well rounded, but he looked a little off, just a little. He looked better than he did at Worlds, so I'm sure he's still healing up and building up, to the more important contests. And I'm sure the next important contest for him will be the Arnold Classic. And he kind of does enough to win, and that's what he did here. He still won by 8 points. Like, it was still it was dominant. He wasn't really. There wasn't any threat to him at any point, so he might have let up a little bit at the end. But yeah, he did well. Martins snuck in to end up in second at the end with 92 points, and hometown favorite, fifth strongest man in the world, Caron, ended up in third with 88, and just behind him was Kilzakowski with 86.5 for fourth. Jimmy Pacquiao of Canada ended up with 70 points for fifth. Belsac, sixth. Maxime Bordeaux just behind in seventh. Ronald Hanma in eighth. Carl Halhot, I know I'm messing that up. I will get it right. I'm going to send you a message to be like, hey, let me know how to pronounce your name. I even checked on your Facebook, because sometimes they have like those things that tell you how, but I'm just being unprofessional. I did do some due diligence, though. He ends up, a very respectable ninth place with some solid event finishes. Jits Kramer had a little bit of a struggle after a solid Arnold Africa. And there's a big drop-off from 9th to 10th as well. It went from 57.5 points to 29. So he didn't have his best day in 10th with 29 points. Yoli Maki ends up with 20, and Orzechowski from Poland gets 12th with 18.5 points. So what is next in the Arnold World Series will be the Arnold Europe, and that is taking place on 9/28 to 9/30. I think it's a one-day contest. So joining, Shaw joins Caron, Shivlikov, Ronald Hanma, Olikave, Novikov, and Hafthor Bjornsson as those that are qualified for the 2019 Arnold Classic so far. And in the point system, Kilzakowski jumps ahead of Jerry Pritchett with 23 points overall. Pritchett has 20. He didn't compete this weekend, so he gave up a lot of points. Martins 17, Belsac 16, Jits Kramer 15, Dimitar Sabatinov 13, and I think four of those people will probably qualify, because the winner of the Arnold Europe will qualify, and if there's no other Arnold qualifiers, I'm pretty sure I'm not missing any, but if I'm right, the top three in those points after the Arnold Europe will be qualified, and I think, I'm going to go out on a limb, that I think it's going to be those same four in those points that end up being the next four that qualify. So I think Kilzakowski, Pritchett, Lises, and Belsac will be the people that qualify for the Arnold, will be the competitors for the Arnold Classic in 2019. So we're looking at that lineup, with Shaw, Caron, Shivlikov, Hanma, Oleke Novikov, and Bjornsson, pretty good lineup, pretty similar to last year. With and it depends on who's going to be the alternates or if anyone gets hurt. And they'll just keep going down the points list. Those competing at the Arnold Europe, every one of those names is competing. The competitors are Jerry Pritchett, Kiełzakowski, Belsack, Martins, Andrew Clayton, Brian Benzel, Orzechowski, Justin Fisher, Sigfoss Fosdal, Carl Hallhat will be competing again, Alexei Novikov, so that'll be interesting to see how he does, Jimmy Pacquiao, Rano Hanla, and Dimitar Sabatinov. Those aren't confirmed, but that's just a competitor's list. As it gets closer, usually it ends up being the week of, just how strongman goes. We'll post up a official lineup. I should have said it at the beginning, but before I get going, I just want to just mention that we lost a legend and a pioneer and a true, pretty much one of the, if you're going to have a handful of people that are responsible for strongman being the sport it is today, Terry Todd died over the weekend. Brian Shaw, he dedicated his win up in Warwick to Terry Todd. Condolences to the family. I didn't really have much interaction with the Todds. I worked media at the Arnold in, I think that was 2016, and I made sure to go up to Terry Todd and just shake his hand and say, appreciate you for, letting me have this access back here and, being part of this great event. That he's one of the main people that helped build it. He was instrumental at the beginning of World's Strongest Man, even doing some commentating. He was a prolific power lifter and probably, I would say, like the #1 strength historian and responsible for carrying on a lot of the tradition with strength, and just a true, lover of everything strength. They have the Stark Institute in Austin, Texas, which I plan to go to at some point. Can't believe I haven't been yet. But yeah, just it seemed like I think he was 80, and strongman lost one of the pioneers in the sport, and it was very sad. And condolences go out to his wife Jan Todd and the rest of their family, and everyone else should just be thankful for everything that he contributed to strength sports and the strongman in general, and especially the Arnold, what I'm talking about right now. I'm Kalle Beck. Thanks for watching, listening, and we'll talk to you next time.